ask this question. Jarvis probably knows it because he's been on a training, but I'm gonna ask this so Jarvis don't ruin it for the guys. How do you know you are a great speaker? How do you know you're a great speaker?
Well, it's like anything, I would imagine. I think it's two things. I think there's feedback that you get from the audience, which is after. I also think that when you've been speaking in front of people for a while, you get a good sense of energy. You sense that energy where people are really engaged with their head nods or things from the audience in real time. And it's something that you can feel too. And then afterwards, they'll tell you exactly, not just good talk, but they'll tell you, here's what I really appreciated.
Okay. What do you think, Ross?
After being on the road speaking 5 days a week in a different city for 2 years, it was certainly the energy that you pick up off the audience. You're getting that connection, the feedback, the body motion, the lean forward, getting that read was some of the, KPIs that I worked off of. And like Rico just said, is if they're coming up after the end of you had them perform a call to action and they take action, then you've delivered your message well.
Okay. Everyone knows how hard it is to stand in front of a room and talk. So most people being nice, in my opinion, most people are nice and understanding, and they're going to tell you great job or good job, and they're going to say something that stuck out to them. But I think that's where speakers get caught in mediocrity. And if you're stuck into mediocrity as a speaker, you won't be speaking very long. How do you know if you're a great speaker? People pay you for it. AKA they hire you, AKA they refer you, AKA they have you come speak. Okay. If they don't do those things, then it just wasn't good enough. All right. That's my standard anyways. I don't care when someone comes up, oh, it was a great presentation. Well, did you buy the offer? Did you buy the offer that was for a couple $100s? No, you didn't. So stop telling me it was a great presentation. Yeah, I don't say that to him, but in my mind, that's what I'm thinking, right? Like if you didn't like same thing if you got on a one-on-one call with a potential client and they said no to your offer, how do you know you did a good job? They buy what you have to say. So it's the same thing, right? They have to buy what you say. So that's the standard. Okay. That's the standard that we're playing at. They refer you. Okay. Uh, they talk about you is great, but they refer you to other people. They hire you. They introduce you to other people. Those are the standards that we really want to get in. So what has to happen before that? What has to happen before they pay you? What has to happen in your opinion? Before they pay you, what would need to happen?
Clarifying question, pay you to show up to speak or to pay you?
Regardless, what would have to happen before there's a transaction?
They'd have to
Well,
trust you. Huh?
trust, desire.
Okay.
There has to be a relationship or some kind of knowledge conveyed, a value proposition that they are willing to engage and provide their time or money to do.
All right. I call this the three I's. Okay. The three I's. One, you have to give them really powerful insight. Okay. Next one, you have to inspire them. What does inspire mean? What's our definition of inspire?
I would guess move to action from within.
Okay. Um, I have the definition of aspire right in front of me. To encourage somebody to greater effort, enthusiasm, or creativity, to awaken a particular feeling in somebody. The Latin root word for inspire means to breathe into. Okay. And when you inspire someone, it lifts them, it gives them vision. Okay. So we have to inspire them. We have to create a vision of where they're at right now. Okay. And they have to be able to create clarity that moves them through the problem. Okay, because that's where most people get stuck. They're afraid, they're scared, and we'll talk about that some. So you have to give them vision. Um, so give them insight, inspire, and then the most important one is instill them with an identity that they are the person that buys from you. They are the person that figures out how to pay it versus I can't afford it right now. I'm not ready. Let me think about it. All these things are identity. Okay. You want to instill an identity within them that they are that person. Okay. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So the three I's: instill, inspire, okay, and influence. We didn't talk about influence. What does influence mean? What would you guys say is the definition of influence? Samara, you just always in a car? I feel like every time I talk to you, you're in a car. She's doing what boss babes do. Drive into the action. Okay, what is influence? What is your definition of influence?
Having
Um,
the ability to inspire people to be led in a direction that you would like them to do, and they then own it.
okay,
I would also add to that influence is when you can um, change somebody's behavior.
okay. I'd more go with it does have that in influence. Okay, if I influence someone, here's how I define influence. Okay, here's how most people define influence. Okay, how they influence. I'll cut right to chase because this can go really deep. How do people feel about themselves after they hear me, see me, or are around me? Not how do they feel about me, not what do they think about me. It's how do they feel about themselves. So we have a Brady manifesto that's on the wall at the house. I need to share it more. So that's like our core values is a Brady family, right? And on there we have a quote is I love myself the most when I'm around you and I can't wait to see you again. Okay. I love I feel the most inspired. I feel the strongest. I feel the most confident. I feel the coolest. I feel the smartest. I feel the most capable. Like think about the person in your life that gives you that most influence. I think of Dan Clark, top 10 motivational speaker in the world. Every time I'm around him, I just feel like the biggest superstar. I just feel like I can tackle the world. I feel like I'm so much cooler in Dan's eyes than my own eyes, right? And so think about the person that has the most influence over you in your life. Okay. And they change the way you feel about yourself. Okay. So those are my three I's: insight, inspire, and influence. That's my job. So those three things, okay, in my opinion, have to happen before there's a transaction. All right. So that's my ultimate goal. So how we get there, well, that's what we're gonna be talking about. So I'm gonna share my screen. So I'm gonna share a outline that I've used. I tell everyone that I'm working with that haven't spoke before or are newer to the stage, do not fuck with my outline. Stick to the outline. The outline will make up for your lack of knowledge in speaking. The outline will make sure it's a well-rounded presentation. The outline will cover all your bases. Okay. I think most people go up there and they try to inform people. Okay. And what they do as a result of trying to inform people is you just create the more information you give someone, the more information they think they need to take action. Okay. The details are after the commitment. Think about entrepreneurism for a second. Think about all the details that we need to know to run a business, right? And think about all the details we've learned in the process after we committed to being an entrepreneur to begin with. Okay, when you give them more information, they're going to create more questions in their head. And the more questions they create in their head is then going to leave them with this big old fat giant head. Okay, imagine if we had these big old fat giant head. Think about how hard it would be to move. Okay, and that's what you do when you give people too much information is they feel like I already have it. I already have the information. Okay, and in reality, that's not what they need. Okay, they didn't need information. One, they needed an identity transformation, which is why I say instill. Okay, they needed to be the person. Okay, I realized this when I first stepped into coaching years ago. I thought everyone that hires a coach is already ready to make all the sacrifices that they need to get results, and it's not further from the truth. Okay, so they ask all these information. Well, I didn't go to the gym. Well, why didn't you go to the gym? Well, I don't know how many sets to do. Okay, well, this is how many sets you do. Follow up with them. Well, how come you didn't go to the gym? Well, I didn't know how many reps to do. Okay, well, let me give you how many reps to do. Well, how come you didn't go to the gym? Well, I didn't know what exercise to do. They're always going to create more reasons of why. They needed to transform into the person. There has to be an identity transformation. Okay. I call it the next generation transformation formula. Okay. Whatever you believe, you do. Whatever you do, you have. So that's the first thing I'm looking at for I call this my pre work. What is the main limiting belief I'm trying to overcome? Okay. What is the main limiting belief? So if I was a personal trainer, okay, the main limiting belief I'd be trying to overcome is that I'm genetically programmed to not get results. Okay. Diabetes, obesity, it runs in my family. Okay. Now, if someone has a belief of that, what do you think their actions will naturally start to move towards? Okay. Not going to the gym. Yeah, it doesn't matter what I eat because my genetics, something's wrong with my genetics. Think about all the subconscious things we do. Okay. And then based upon whatever we do, we have. Now, as soon as I get them, so as a personal trainer, when I was doing presentation, as soon as I get them to understand what epigenetics means, which means above genetics, which means I can turn off and on a gene expression. Yeah, I might have been given the fat gene, but I can turn on and off the way that gene is expressed. Okay. So as soon as they start to understand that they create their genes, okay, now their subconscious is going to go do the work naturally. Okay. I don't need to tell them all the little itty bitty details in the gym because they've already changed into the person that goes to the gym. Okay. And I think that's where we go wrong with as coaches sometimes. We always think that we need all these little itty bitty information. No, we need an identity transformation. Okay, so your sales process should be heavily involved in helping them break through, okay, the limiting beliefs. So that's the first thing I'll get. What is the main limiting belief I'm trying to overcome? Okay, so in my presentation, one of the main limiting belief I'm trying to overcome is branding's not that important, or branding's stupid, or branding is superficial, or branding is fake, so those are some of the first limiting beliefs I'm trying to overcome. Okay. What do I want them to believe? So if I could snap my finger just like that, what would I want them to believe? Well, I'd want them to believe their brand is everything. They are the brand X factor. The brand is the foundation to your business. Okay. So then I go next to the actions. So what are the actions or behaviors that they're not doing? Okay. Well, they're not investing into their marketing. They don't even have a marketing budget. How could you not have a marketing budget? How could you not have a budget that sets the tone for literally the rest of your life? Okay. Everything you want revolves around your ability to get attention. Okay. So what are the actions? They're not investing into the marketing. Okay. They're not putting themselves out on social media. They're scared about what other people can think. They don't know. Okay. But if you ask them, you get, hey, what's your problem? I don't know what to post. So the natural speaker is going, oh, let me tell you what to post. Okay. Let me tell you what to post. And so that's why you really want to be careful. No disrespect to the women, Teresa and Samara, but if you've ever asked a woman, what attracts you to a guy? What are the things that you want out of a guy? And the woman will tell you all these things. But just because the woman says that is not necessarily what they respond to, at least in my experience. Okay. I don't know if you women want to add on to that, but just because they say they want something isn't necessarily that means what they need. So then the question is, do you give clients what they want or do you give them what they need? What do you guys think? Do you give them what they want or do you give them what they need?
You give them what they need so they can have what they want.
Yeah, you tell them what they want and you tell them if that's what you want, this is what you need so you can get what you want. Okay? The transformation has to come from within. The biggest mistake I think we make in sales and speaking is we think that they have to believe us. They don't have to believe you. They don't have to believe you. They have to believe themselves. They don't have to trust you. They have to trust themselves. You don't want someone that trusts you and not themselves. Okay, if they trust you and not themselves, then that's headed on a highway. That's on a highway down to nothing good, and you getting thrown underneath the bus because you weren't the one that got them results. Okay. Yes, I want you to trust me, but more importantly, I want you to trust yourself. You can't make all the decisions for people. Like I'm looking at all the different types of businesses that we have. Jarvis, we were just on this conversation last week, weren't we? Right? You want them to trust themselves through the process. Okay. And then last one, what are the negative results that they're getting or not getting? Okay, so go back up. So, what are the actions or behaviors they aren't doing? And then what is the action or behavior I would like them to commit to? Okay, posting every day, running ads. Okay, I want them to commit to putting out their story. I want to commit them to asking more for the sell. Okay, what are the results they're not getting? Okay, and then what are the results that are possible for them if they believe this and do this? Okay, what are the results that are possible for them? AKA testimonials. Um, just the more I get into the business, the more and more I realize how important testimonials are. And I think everyone, including myself, does a horrible job at getting testimonials. Okay, testimonials are such a huge part. One of our best ads that converts the best is one we share of the testimonials. Okay, testimonials are such a huge part, and not just a testimonial, a story testimonial. Because as the saying goes, facts tell, stories sell. Facts inform, stories transform. Okay. And so the average speaker, they go up there and they try to inform people to death. And it's really, they think they're doing a good job. And I thought I was doing a good job, but you couldn't be further from the truth. Okay. It's boring, it's uninspiring. And at the end of the day, your information is just getting more and more cheap. It's $20 a month, right? For Chat GPT. So more so than ever before, it's not literally the information, it's the ability to create a transformation within themselves. Okay, to see the vision, to see what's possible. Information doesn't necessarily do that, right? And then to be influenced, right? I'm going to move closer to Ross if Ross makes me feel good. I'm going to move closer to Rico if Rico makes me feel good, right? And so Sam does a really good job at this. I've worked with a lot of insurance people and financial people, and they have like the golden handcuffs. You can't talk about shit, it feels like. And so what do we do? Well, we really focus on the three I's. Let's influence them. Let's make them feel good when they're around this. If they're gonna open up their checking account and let us know what's going on, they need to be able to we need to be able to make them feel good about themselves. So, Sam will get up there the entire time and talk about his family. He'll talk about what he does. He'll talk about his family. He'll talk about these stories. And, from the outside looking in, you're like, well, he didn't even mention anything about finances. Okay. He didn't mention anything about finances, but all those things would have to happen before they even get to the financial part. Okay. So this is the pre-work. Okay. So I haven't even got into my presentation yet. Okay. Don't skip the pre-work. Okay. What is the one, maybe two limiting beliefs I'm trying to overcome? You start to get into three or four limiting beliefs you're trying to overcome. It's too many. Okay. We remember things 1, 2, 3, 801-550-2779 versus 801-550-2779, right? We remember things in patterns. We're pattern based. Uh, Yeah, we're just pattern-based people. We remember patterns. Okay. So the goal is to not give them too much. All right. Um, let's pause right there. I like to talk a lot. Sometimes I get in my head. So what are we taking away so far from what we're talking about so far? Pedro, glad to have you on here. Brother, what are some of the things you're taking away so far?
Yeah, so one thing I didn't know was what limiting beliefs I want them to overcome. I've definitely thought more just information wise to present.
Yeah, we all have our four main archetypes, the lover, the magician, the warrior, and the king, right? I talk a lot about this in my second episode of the documentary. We, by default, are always going to try to influence people through the way that we're influenced. So I'm a warrior. So as a warrior, I'm just like, just tell me what I need to do and it's done. Okay, so that's how I like to influence sometimes. Okay, but other people are like, no, I need information. So Pedro is the magician, it's the logical, it's the ABC and the one, two, three. So your natural tendency is to try to influence through the magician. Okay, so in reality, all four things have to happen. So a lover operates off feeling, a magician operates off logic, a warrior operates off action, and then a king operates off what is the result. So the goal in our brand and in our story is to influence all four of those main archetypes. Okay. All right. Rico, what are you taking away so far?
I appreciate that it's not going straight into problem solution because that becomes very tactical, which is not unnecessary, but starting with what people actually believe is way more engaging.
Okay. I felt like you were going to say something else, but then you just stopped. Jace, are you with us, brother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so now we're into the outline. And even before this, I would say like if we had more time, I'd be diving into the branding foundations. Are you clear on your branding foundations? Okay, why do I do what I do? Okay, simple. I believe your story can transform the world. Very simple. Okay, what's the way you do it? Okay, three-step process. What's your secret sauce? Okay, we help people become leaders of the industry through the brand X Factor formula. Okay, who do we work with? People who want to be seen as brand leaders of their industry. What's the result? To create what we refer as the it life, influence, income, time, freedom. So all of I refer to those as the four W's. Really simple. They need to be simple, they need to be sexy, and they need to be sloganized. You should be able to put those sentences and make a song out of it. Think about the songs that you like right now. Okay. They have a rhythm to it. It flows. It doesn't necessarily have to rhyme, but it has a rhythm. Do your messages have rhythm? Okay. Right? Because at the cellular level, your messages have to create a frequency. You guys are going to love my second presentation the second day. I have a really cool presentation. Um, and Oh, yeah, I don't want to ruin it, but I have a really cool thing that I want to show. But at the cellular level, it's a frequency. Does your messages create a rhythm that creates a frequency within? Okay. So that's the pre-work. Okay, then the pre-presentation pre-work. What do I want them to believe? What do I want them to do? What do I want them to have? All right. And then now we're getting to the outline itself. So the very first thing, okay, let me back up. Don't be the speaker that comes on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and says the exact same thing that the previous four speakers just said. Hey guys, what's up? How are you doing? Don't be that speaker. Okay. Go out right into your presentation. What does it mean to be a brand leader? And are you willing to make the sacrifices to be a brand leader of your industry? How long have you been telling yourself that you have fat genetics and you'll never be in shape? How long have you been waking up on a Monday and not knowing what you're doing in your marketing? Okay, so these are all what I refer to is enrolling questions. It's the hook. Okay, it's a question. Whether I whether you answer the question out loud or not, you're still going to answer the question. Okay, kids do this in the worst way sometimes. Why are you so stupid? Why are you so dumb? Right? We do that. Okay, we answer the questions whether so. What's the opening hook? Okay, the opening hook is a question that you ask that opens them up. Okay, that gets them up. So if I'm Pedro, how long have you been continuously trying to manage your books? And how long do you think that your business can operate off a rookie managing a book, managing your books? Okay, so that's just off the top of my head. All right. Okay, so two enrolling questions. The thing when I'm working with people, I have them, you should be writing hooks like it's nobody's business. You should have a whole Word document that has all the hooks. Okay, tons and tons of hooks. Because in marketing, that's the goal. Okay, that's the goal is to hook them. It's to grab their attention. The hook is the most important thing. Okay, we went fishing this last summer, and my son caught a fish, and it was just the cutest thing. He's 5 years old, and the fish literally swallowed like the whole thing, like the whole bait. It was like in its gut. Okay. Tatum could have sat there and reeled it in as slow as he wanted to. Why? Because the hook was deep. The hook was so deep that it didn't matter how fast he reeled it in. Sometimes in our presentations, we don't lay a good hook, and then it's like we have to hurry and get to the good stuff. Okay. When you lay a good hook, then it allows your audience to really sit there and allows you to really get to the main points of your presentation. Okay, so the hook is something that you should be spending a lot of time on. All right. Okay, next one. Okay, my name is Travis Brady, and I believe your story can transform the world. My name is Travis Brady, and I believe you are the brand X Factor. Okay. My name is Rico. I believe my purpose here, my vision. Okay. It's with my deepest belief. Like, what do you believe? People work with people that believe the same thing. What is the central belief that people would have to believe in order to work with you? Okay. So, for people to work with our agency, they would have to believe that their story can transform the world. They would have to believe that they are the brand X factor. Okay. So, what is the central belief that people would have to believe? Okay. Um, Next one, acknowledge people. Okay. Whenever I'm on someone else's stage, thank you for so and so for being here. Thank you, Red Suit, for being here. I'm really blessed. Okay. Thank the people, thank the stage, thank the audience. Okay, so who are the people that you want to thank? You would definitely want to thank the audience. Okay, what is the student going to learn today? Okay, what are they going to learn today? All right, today I'm going to teach you how to become a leader of your industry. I'm going to teach you how to put yourself out there with confidence. I'm going to teach you to overcome the hardest part of business, which is yourself. I'm going to teach you how to get it out of your own way today. Okay. I'm going to teach you how to take your experiences and share those in the form of the story to not only transform your world, but the world. Okay. So, what are they going to learn? So, give them a vision about what they're going to take away today. Okay. After this presentation, you're going to walk out of here 2 inches taller. You're going to want to tackle the world. Okay. People are going to be asking, who is this new version of you? Okay. So you're creating a story. You're creating a story right from the get-go about what's going to happen after today. Okay. And then we have to answer this question. Why should we listen to you? Why should I listen to Pedro? Why should I listen to Jace? Why should I listen to Ross? Okay, so you're going to showcase your strengths and experiences. Okay. It could be who you've worked with, who you helped. It could be your background and your education. Um, there could be a lot of things. So what's your flex? What are you flexing? Okay, so why should they listen to you? All right, so that's the important question. Okay, and then now we go into the story. Now, here's how you don't go into your story. All right, guys, let me now tell you a story about my life. They don't really care. They really don't care about your story. They care about their story. They listen to your story because it creates a vision for their story. Okay. You guys, I mean, I know you guys like me, but you literally don't really care about my story, if that makes sense. My story is what helps give you vision and gives you clarity to get the results that you want. And I don't say this to make you feel like your story doesn't matter. It's everything. It will always be everything. Your experiences are everything. Okay. But the way we go into the story is everything. All right. So make sure there's an easy transition into the story. So I'm gonna go through this, um, and then I'm gonna come back to the story and give you guys some really good stuff through the story. So after you share the story, okay, now we have to give a metaphor that sells the facts. Okay, so what's the metaphor? So a metaphor that I constantly use with branding is it's like building a house. Before you ever start framing up, you got to make sure that the ground is a solid foundation. Okay, you got to make sure the ground is stable. Okay, you got to make sure that the cement is level. Right. In Utah, this is what was weird when I moved to Arizona. In Arizona, they're like, there's no basements. I was like, how is there no basements in Arizona? In Utah, they dig the basement, they dig the hole. And then before they start laying any of the cement, they say that that hole needs to sit there for at least another month as it packs in because you've just messed with the foundation. So they go water it, they really make sure it's packed in. Then we lay the cement. Okay, so see how that little metaphor I just shared right there? And so now I take that metaphor and I compare it to branding. All right. Okay, so what's the metaphor or metaphors? Do you guys have any metaphors that you guys use that you like to use? No?
Trips, vacations. If you want to get to a destination, you have to create a plan. And you have to be able to put that into formatable or executable steps. Seems all my metaphors go to some kind of car relationship or taking a trip and getting people involved in the journey and understanding the necessary things that they should be able to do or know how to do or have people help them do to get through to that glorious journey
Yeah,
of vacation.
start paying attention to metaphors. I like that metaphor. Start paying attention to this. How many metaphors can you tie back to what you do? Okay, imagine the vehicle of business. How far do you want your business to go? Well, how far do you want the vehicle to go before it breaks down? If it's out of alignment, okay, it's not going to go far. If your brand is out of alignment, it's not going to go very far and it's honestly not going to go very fast. Okay, so there's a quick metaphor. Okay, they say that your presentation should hit the same points 5 to 7 times. They say it takes 5 to 7 breakthroughs to finally believe something. Have you guys ever heard this? Okay. And one of the things they say, or they said at the National Speakers Association, is they say never take never take credit for the person that goes up to you and says you transformed your life because you could have been just the seventh person that told them the seventh time and they finally got it. So I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, way to kill my ego there for thinking I was transforming lives, right? Okay, so hit the same points over and over. Sometimes we feel like we have to give them all the stuff when really we just got to narrow it down. Okay, narrow it down. All right, so what's the metaphor? Or else you could use another quick story. Okay, visuals. We trust our eyes more than we trust our ears. That's why I'm such a big fan of documentaries and videos over books. Books is seeing it on seeing the words, but you don't really see the vision. Okay. What diagrams, PowerPoints, pictures, props, how can they see what you're talking about? Okay. Again, we trust our eyes more than we trust our ears. Okay. So, one of my first mentors that I drank all the Kool-Aid, went back for seconds, and drank all the crunchy, sugary drink every time I'd go to his event. He'd be up there, he'd be just drawing stick figures the whole time. That's all he did, draw little stick figures. And he draws these stick figures, and you're sitting there watching him draw stick figures, and you're just like, oh my gosh, everything in my life now makes sense now that I see a stupid stick figure. It was insane. Every time I go to his event, he'd draw these stick figures, and everything, it just starts making sense because he broke it down so simply. Okay. Simplify your message. How do you showcase your brand? Okay, so we're going to be doing that. I'll be doing that with my branding foundations. And then the second day, we're going to be doing it with marketing. Okay, we're going to be bringing up these bags of water. You'll see exactly what we're doing, and we're showing them, not just telling them. Okay, so diagrams, PowerPoints. PowerPoints is, I was talking to Rico about this earlier. You got to be careful with PowerPoints because we've all been to that person that's just sitting there watching their own PowerPoints. Okay. I would err on the side of unique and different versus being the same. Okay. I would always err on the side of being different and unique versus being the same. Okay. I think my rule with some of my smaller events is you don't speak on my stage unless you have a prop. Okay. You don't speak on my stage unless you involve the audience. Those are important things that you don't like. I want my stage to be an experience, not an 80s infomercial of how to change your life. The old way of standing up and preaching is dead. It's been dead, right? So we really have to be interactive. Okay. So which brings me to my next point, demonstration with the audience. Okay. Bring the audience up here who, okay, go on and ask someone the question, like get into the audience. All right. Um, Ask them a question. Have something planned. I did this years ago to the events. I wrote this letter. I wrote a very, very detailed letter. Okay. And the letter was saying some of the facts. I struggle with money. I'm unsure of myself. Okay. I lack believing in myself. It was like very detailed. And I put it under um under a chair where those types of people sit. Okay. Kings, people that are paying attention to every drop of what you say, are the closest to you. Okay. They're going to sit the closest to you. The magicians, they're going to sit back in the corners. They want to see things from all perspectives. Okay. The warriors are going to kind of sit to the side. Okay. And then the lovers are going to be more in the middle. The people that are most wanting to be hidden, they're going to surround themselves around people so they can't be seen. Okay. So they're saying whenever you're asking an audience a question, always start with the person that is closest to you because they're right on cue. Okay. Your goal is to win the audience. If you're asking a question to the person in the back corner, that is always a question mark because they could, and they usually do, they throw something at you. They try to go against what you're talking about. Okay. So whenever I'm asking questions, okay, I'm always engaging the people that are closest to me. So I'm always thinking in my mind, I have to win this audience over. And the way I win the audience is I win the people that are closest to me. Okay, if that makes sense. All right, so doing a demonstration or something interactive with the audience, okay, goes a long ways. And then we do a review. Okay, here's what we talked about, or maybe I share another story that brings it all back in. Okay, and then I share a lasting, memorable story or metaphor or something else to really bring it all home. Okay, now um, this is probably older one because because what I would do, actually, this is the last one right here. So lasting, this is the lasting memorable one. This one I'm going to cut. I'm going to put it right here. Okay. And this is where we make our offer. Okay. So now let's go over how to make an offer. Okay. Let me ask you this question. What makes someone salesy? Jace, go ahead.
When they're trying to sell you something at the very beginning,
Yep. So too soon. So that would be the rule. Too soon.
too
We
soon.
just met. You're already trying to marry me, right? Okay. What else? What makes someone salesy? That's all. We say that we're like, I hate that person. That person was salesy. Well, what made him salesy?
They didn't get buy-in. They didn't build trust with you before they ask you to do something.
Okay.
So they feel like, or you might feel like that they're asking you to do something against your will.
Yep. So at this point in time, we've already delivered a lot of value. People don't pay you based upon what you're going to give them. They pay you based upon what you've already given them. So the goal at this point in time is for you to rock their world, right? Your goal is for them to be like, wow, I'm excited. This makes so much sense. Okay. So I never make an offer until I've overcome every objection inside my head. Your outline of your presentation should have already done that. It should have overcome the objection. Why me? Why now? Will this work for me? Can I trust you? Can I trust me? Like all those things have to have happened at this point in time. Okay, so that's the first one. So first thing is I need to have made sure that I've overcame all objections. Okay, if there's still an objection that I haven't overcome, then I don't make the offer because what's going to come up?
And they judge.
Yep. Oh, I have to talk to my wife, right? Okay. Well, why didn't you talk about that sooner? Okay. So in your presentation, in your head, it should have overcame all the objections. Okay. The next thing is ask, and this is the most important. This is by far the most important, okay, in overcoming the he's salesy type of person. Ask for permission to make an offer. Ask for permission. And if you don't get a resounding yes, then ask it again until you get a yes. Okay, I have an offer here that I'm really excited to share with you guys. Is that okay if I share it with you? Okay, are you sure? And then I will go and I'll talk about what I've been through or done to build this offer. Okay, so in my mind I'm thinking about all the things I've been through, all the things I've done, like what I went through to actually build this offer I'm about to present to you. Okay. And really make it feel special to you. I'd say that's really important. Like um when I put together like these ticket offers to get people back to more events, I really talk about all the events I've went through and why this is really special to me and how much it means to me. Okay. They say whenever you're talking about a product, one of my followers bought me this book after my dog died. So sweet. But if I'm presenting a product, okay, I'm presenting it like this. Okay. I'm not going like this. Okay. I'm the way I handle it, the way I care for it. Okay. That's how you should, even though your offer is not tangible, but that's the feeling you should bring across, like how special it is to you. Okay. Next one is who is it for and who is it not for? Okay. Who is this for and who is this not for? Your not for has to be just as strong, okay, as the for. So if you're going to say, hey, here's all of who this is for, you also have to be able to say who it's not for. Okay, here's who I don't work with. You almost have to, I want to say vilify, but you have to build a them versus us type thing. All right. Here's who it's for, here's who it's not for. Okay. So in my mind, I've overcome all the objections, right? It was all through my story, my presentation, ask for permission. Okay. Talk about what I've been through. This is who it's for. This is who it's not for. Okay. Then I'm going to compare this to something. Okay. So when they sold me my Corvette, they say, hey, if you were to buy a car with this type of horsepower, you'd probably be investing $250,000. So you want to be a comparison about what it would cost. Okay. And then you're going to break down what it is, but you're going to focus on benefits, not features. What's the difference between features and benefits? What's the difference between feature and benefits? To sum it up really quick, features is you're breaking down the details of it. Okay. Benefits is you're focusing on what is the benefit of this. This is stainless steel tools. These are stainless steel grade A tools. Well, who cares what it features? What's the benefit? Well, the benefit is this will last you 3 generations of passing down in some of the most, uh, in some of the worst terrains known to Earth. This was battle tested at 2000 degrees. I'm just making shit up right now, but you're focusing on what's the benefit, not the feature.
Is it kind of like focusing on the transformation?
Yep, focus on the transformation. That's a better way to say it. Okay. Break down what it focuses on benefits, break down what it is, and then you're going to focus on benefits. Okay. And then you're going to give what the cost of it is. Okay. So the no, you're going to do value and then you're going to do cost. If you take action today, this is going to be the price. Okay, here's the value. The value of this car is $109,000. That's MSRP. Okay, I'm comparing that, or this is what the salesman did. I'm comparing that to the Lamborghini. Okay, this is the value. The price of the car is 90,000. Since it's Labor Day weekend, we're dropping it down to $80,000. Everyone wants a deal and everyone wants to invest into things that are valuable. Okay. You can say this is stupid, this is dumb, that's playing a game, whatever you want to call it. What I call it is showing them the value. Okay. And that's pretty much what you're doing. You're showing them the value. Okay. And then last, the call to action. So with you guys present at Brand X, okay, next step for us is to scan this code. This will get us into a conversation and we'll meet later. My I don't like to make big, huge offers in front of audiences. Okay. I don't. A lot of reasons. One is it's really, really hard. Okay. It's really, really hard to close a high ticket person in an audience. Okay. Two, I don't want to work with everyone in the audience. Okay. I don't want someone signing up for the program that I can't fucking stand. Okay. That's another reason. And then three, it's just hard. So my call to action is if all this sounds like something that you would like to explore more of, scan this and let's schedule a meeting next week. Okay. And I'll still honor this if it's a good fit. Okay. If it's not a good fit, I'm going to support you any way I can moving forward. So the big goal you want to do is A, B, D. Okay, anyone knows what that stands for? You want to ABD them. And it doesn't stand for always be dicking them. Okay.
Yeah, I've never heard of this one, ABD, before.
Okay. Who's heard of ABC? I'm going to ABC them. I'm going to always be closing, right? ABD means always be disarming. If I feel like you're going to hard close me and I'm going to get into an uncomfortable sales conversation, I'm not even going to get myself into that conversation. I'm going to choose out of it. I'm going to choose out of it before I'm even in there. Okay. I can say no. Most people don't want to be in that conversation at all. So even though they might be a little bit interested, they might choose out of it because they feel like you're just going to try to close them. Now, if I disarm them and I commit to the goal, I commit to my mission, I commit to my brand, which is I'm going to support you any way I can moving forward, then I'm going to get into a lot more conversations and I'm going to get them to drop their guards. The biggest problem with sales is you're not really talking to the truth. You're talking to the smokescreen. You're talking to the things in front of the real thing. The biggest thing that I want to have happen is I actually want to talk to the truth. Okay. I just had this call earlier with someone in the Brotherhood. Okay. We get to the price, we get to everything else on a scale of 1 out of 10. How committed? One being you don't like me, you don't even know why you're still here. 10 being you're all in, you're ready to go. Where are you? I'm a 9. Okay, great. Great. Okay. Reward them. Thank them for being honest. Because if you can't get them to be honest, then you can't help them overcome the objection to get to the cell. It's one of the biggest things I see over and over. If they're not honest with you, then we can't overcome the objections to get to the cell. Okay. So I'm going to ABD them. Okay. I know this all sounds great. Okay. Even if you are a good fit, let's have a conversation. Okay. To see if it really is a good fit. Okay. Scan this. All right, let's set up a time next week and really let's go into this and see if it's a good fit. Okay. Now, after we make the offer, now we leave them on a high. Your best stuff. People remember the first of the presentation and the last of the presentation. Okay. So I want to leave them with a lasting, memorable story. A lasting, it could be a metaphor, it could be an analogy. Be vulnerable. This is where I'd really invite you to be super vulnerable. Okay. Leave them on a high, though. This isn't where you share the story of someone died in your life. This isn't the story, Will, you shared. Like, this is the story that you share that really lifts them. It's the last thing that gets them to puff out their chest and say, I can fucking conquer the world right now. Okay. All right. Let's go back through the offer real quick. Jace, I'm glad you're on here, brother. I was going to tell you to be on here. I'm glad you took initiative to be on here. What are you taking away from this right now?
Man, just the processes of like elimination and just how to really go about everything and the way people think, just and how you can really put yourself out there to influence them the way that you've described so far, man.
Okay,
Yeah,
Pedro.
oh, sorry.
Sorry, Jace. Was there anything else you wanted to add? Okay, Pedro.
Yeah, so I guess now the touching on the same points over and over again, and then using those metaphors and comparing your offer to the value. Because yeah, how you said everybody wants a deal, and that's I see that all the time that everybody just wants a deal.
Yeah, everyone wants a deal. So how do you stay in? Because I want to give everyone a deal too. So I just naturally build that into my offer so I don't feel this internal like pull. You know what I mean? Everyone gets a deal, so that way I don't have to feel like I'm I because if you're constantly cutting yourself off in your business, okay, and going above below what you should be, you're not going to be in business for very long. And you think you're helping people, and in fact you're not. You're hurting people because now you have to operate at a lower level to get the result that you're trying to get. I did this years ago. I was always undercutting myself. And then I have to go to my staff and now I have to ask them to take lower pay. And then when I'm asking them to take lower pay, then guess who I'm affecting? Now I'm affecting the client. Okay, so when someone asks for a deal, okay, and you should have your story. You should have your story ready to say, okay, every objection that comes up, you should have a story. Well, Travis, can't you get me a deal? Can you do better? Okay. My first response is you don't want me to do better. And here's why you don't want me to do better. My grandpa owned a body shop. He bought it from this guy in 1969. And my grandpa, he grew up really poor. Okay. And he tried to get sales all the time to keep the business floating. So you come into his body shop and you say, I have a budget of $500. He's going to paint your car based upon what you're willing to pay. So what he has to do in order to make you happy and to be able to put a roof over his head is he has to cut all these corners. Okay. And then now, 2 years later down the road, your paint's peeling. Okay. First snow of the year, and it's already cracking down by the tires. My dad steps in. He says, we're not doing that. My dad steps in. We're going to guarantee a lifetime paint job, and this is the price we're going to pay it. Okay. So if you want a better deal than already what's going on here, you're going to have to go find someone else. However, in my experience, what I have found, okay, because your experience has gone down the same similar path as your client. In my experience, when I do that, now I have to work with not the guy, I have to work with the guy who trained a guy who trained a guy. So I'm not really working with the guy. So now I get less of a result because I wasn't here. So if you want the best result here for your money, okay, this is the price. Okay. And then I might go into price versus cost. What's the difference between the price versus the cost? Sometimes the most expensive thing is the cheapest thing. Okay. I realize this with cameras. I realize it with a lot of things in my life, right? Cameras, especially. I buy the camera. Why? Because it fits my budget. Well, guess what? The camera doesn't do what I need to do. Now it costs me the video. Now the camera breaks. Now, guess what? I'm having to do buy the camera I should have bought from the very beginning. Okay. So, so yeah, any other questions right here before we jump back up to story? Okay, let's jump back up to story. Okay, storytelling.
I did have one, but
Oh, go
I
ahead.
don't
Go
want.
ahead. Go ahead.
So this is speaking to a mass, but what if it's just one person? What would your call to action be? Because at this point, we've already gave them the offer, right? And the call to action is like, okay, cool. If you want to, or we're trying to get them by themselves from a crowd of people. But say, for instance, I have one person and I'm trying to sell them. I gave them my offer, and maybe they gave me smoke screens, and then you just told me to battle the smoke screen with the story, which is very beneficial to me right now because I'm receiving that, and I think that's going to help. But is there a call to action if it's a single person or like?
Yeah, so the call to action is yeah, to get what card did you want to use today to get going?
Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right, cool. That's it. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the call to action always comes down. What's your credit card? Let's do this. Okay. If they yeah. So and we could talk more about this with this, Travis. So let's jump back up the story. The goal here's I said this on the call yesterday. Sometimes the thing we call the thing is not really the thing we should be calling it. Okay. Personal branding really isn't the thing we should be calling it, but that's what we call it. Personal branding is about really building a vision and a mission that you're on, and people follow your personal brand because they're on the same mission and vision that you are. Okay. Storytelling really isn't about telling a story. Okay. Storytelling is about reliving an experience. Two different things. Okay. You want them to relive the experience that you went through. All right. Okay. Most people tell stories of this one time back then, I did this thing and this happened. Okay. Have you ever walked into you bring them into the experience. You go into the details. Okay. I had this is a story I'm going to be sharing at Strength in Your World. So years ago, I had during when I was on the tail end of my life coaching into branding coaching, I had this client that called me one day. She says, "My heart's just breaking right now." I was like, "Why? What's going on?" And she's like, "Oh, it's not me, it's my son. His dad's not really in his life, has been playing flag football, and the other day he came home and he was frustrated. He wanted to quit football. And do you think you could help him?" And I said, "Absolutely, I can help him." So I was like, "Bring him over on Sunday." Sunday I was a busy. So he comes over, he walks in the door, and you could just feel his whole demeanor was just down. And I'm already like, in the mode of gonna want to pump him up and everything. And I go, "Okay, buddy, what do you want to do? What do we need to work on?" And he turned and looked at me and he said, "I just want to score a touchdown." I almost lost it there. Like the way he said it and just how defeated he felt, it just like, I don't know, it just hit me right in the heart. Okay. So that's a long story, but see, I'm walking you through the experience. I'm bringing you into the experience. The goal is not to even share an experience, relived, act an experience. Get your body into it, act it out. Okay, bring people in. I'm very animated, and the truth of it is, I need to be way more animated on stage. I need to be so much more animated on stage. Okay, I need to bring them into the experience. Okay, it's a different level. Dumb people don't learn from their experiences. Smart people do learn from their experiences. Wise people learn through the experiences of other people. Let's relate this to speaking. An average speaker is going to go up and say something motivational and inspirational. Okay, a great speaker is going to go share a story. The best speakers, they're so good at bringing people into an experience that they themselves feel the same emotions that you felt during the experience, and they have the same breakthroughs that you had during the experience. That's your goal. Okay. Someone says, "Yeah, until you experience this, then you're usually not a client." Well, that's your job. That's your duty as a presenter to be so good at bringing them into an experience that they have the same breakthrough as you do. And thus for they fast forward their transformation. So now they are you going through the experience moving forward. That's transformation. Okay. So that's your goal when sharing an experience. Okay. Be detailed. Change your voice. Because when you whisper, they have to lean in. Okay. Take them on a ride. All right. So those are some of my best tips for storytelling. If you take those, you're already way ahead. Most people just try to tell a story. Your goal is not to tell a story. Your goal is to relive an experience. Okay. All right. So there's the outline. As you can see, it covers a lot of bases. As you can see, it really brings fully. I always tell people, that I'm working with, and you're welcome to change it. Obviously, it's your presentation. When I'm working with people, I say don't change it unless you can give me a great reason of why you're changing it. And if you don't have a great reason of why you're changing it, then you probably shouldn't be changing it. Okay. So I'll share this with you. Here's some post work. Am I in alignment with what I'm teaching? Which means I'm doing what I say to the audience, honest, truthful, authentic. Do I have visuals ready for the audience? Does Eric know what you're doing? That's my IT guy. Does IT know what you're doing? Okay. Have I written my blog on this presentation? Sometimes we never try to tell a story for the first time on stage. That's bad news. Okay, you should go up there having already shared the experience multiple times. Okay, if you're going to present something new, I would recommend telling a friend. I would recommend recording a video. I would never, ever, ever share something for the first time on stage. Okay, I've done that before, and you get too much into your head and you become too logical and it disconnects you from your audience. Okay, have I practiced this presentation so I cover everything I need in the time I have allowed? Nothing will piss off me or any other presenter when you're going over time. I had a friend, I won't mention names, he's not allowed on my stage again because he went over 10 minutes and he didn't even talk about what he was supposed to talk about. Okay. You ain't doing that again. Lucius, come here. Come here. Come here. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this. Okay, does my presentation contribute to people buying tickets and signing up? Okay, so like I was saying, your goal is not to just give the audience information. Your goal is to get them to take action. Okay, am I giving away unique, different, unique and different perspectives? I always, not always, most of the time, I try to find a way to deliver a message unique or different in a way that people haven't seen. As a natural human being, we pay attention to what's new. It's the survival mechanism we have. When you're sharing the same old quotes over and over that everybody says, it's really easy for them to tune out. Okay, and that's the last thing you'd want them to do is tune out your presentation. So, am I giving away unique and different perspectives? These unique and different perspectives, however, should go back to what they truly believe at the end of the day. Your presentation should not be so new and so different that it's a completely different concept that they've never heard in their entire life. Okay, there's a saying goes when I was at the National Speakers Association, you should never present to someone they haven't heard because if they hear it and it's new, the likelihood of them taking action on new stuff is very, very low. Like you think about all the things that you've made decisions on in your life, there's a slow process that has had that have happened. When you present something brand new that they've never heard before in their entire life and it's a completely new concept, yes, that's great that you're introducing a new concept, but if it's so foreign and new to them, then it's going to hold them back from taking action, and that's something that you don't want. Okay. Are there pieces of the presentation that could unsell tickets or defeat the purpose of the event? Okay, I've watched people unsell themselves on stage. Okay. One person said, all you need is yourself. They said something of that fact. And I'm just like, you're just unsold yourself. You're presenting coaching and then you talk about how you did this all by yourself with no one helping. You just unsold everything you're talking about. Okay. So make sure we don't have contradicting messages. Okay. Am I honoring everyone in my story? That's a big one. Okay. Yes, I get it. Sometimes your mom or your dad or a business partner, and they fucked you over. I would still find a way to honor them in the story. Okay, so make sure you honor everyone in your story. Don't be the person that just gets up there and bashes people. Okay, when I hear people do that, it's a huge red flag for me. When I get on the phone with someone says, "Oh, screw my last coach and here's what he did," red flag. Red flag for me right from the get-go. Okay. Because I'm probably going to be that next one. Okay. In there. So am I honoring everyone in my story? There was one that I just had and now it slipped my mind. Am I honoring everyone in my story? What was it? It just slipped my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I think anyways, it'll come to me. Wrapping everything up. Do you guys have any questions or anything you would want to add or anything you've learned through the process that would contribute to the conversation? Let's go one takeaway and then we'll wrap things up. Pedro, what's the biggest thing that you feel like you could incorporate out of everything we talked about today?
So definitely how you said be more animated and then think of how the the audience like how they're whether they're warriors, lovers, or kings, don't sell to myself, sell to them.
Yes. I just thought of what I was going to say. Thanks for reminding me, Pedro. Give them an identity to live up to.
Mm.
There was someone that there was someone that would speak on my stage, and every time they'd get up there, they would talk down to the audience. They'd give the identity of audience, the broke, I can't afford it, I'm scared, blah blah blah. You can mention that person, okay? You can mention that person exists in the audience, but you want to talk to the audience as if they're not that person. Okay? Be careful you don't talk down to the audience. Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I watch people do this too. They talk down to the audience. You got to make decisions. You're never gonna do this, blah blah. Like 'cause they're talking down, and you're giving them the identity of that broke. I'm not gonna do anything type of person. That's not the identity. So you want to be thinking, what's the identity I'm giving the audience? Okay, so it all comes back down to influence. Do I influence them? Okay, so that's a big one. Jace, where are you taking away so far, brother?
Like Pedro said, the animation of yourself, being able to express the story through your body and getting the uh, viewers or people in the audience to really experience the emotion and moment to really just take it in, along with just being unique and different, like you said before. Um, and that's where a lot of connection happens, is making sure you take the audience through your story.
Okay. Rico, anything you want to share that you feel like would be helpful for what you're doing this next week?
Yeah, yes. I was actually going through my whole presentation and like comparing what you were saying with my notes as you were talking. So, um, this might sound very simple compared to everything you said, but I think the simple thing of asking permission before making the offer, um, I thought that was really good. Again, it may not be like the thing in this presentation, but it was the thing for me that I thought that's a very simple, smart way that I just want to incorporate all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that one little simple thing, not doing it, I think it could ruin your entire offer because you didn't get permission. So yeah, I think that is something simple. Ross, I know you've had a lot of experience with the speaking. Anything that you're taking away for your presentation next weekend?
I believe it's the overall essence of making sure that you're checking in to how people are feeling.
Mm.
So you've really illustrated an incredible. First of all, are you going to be able to share this recording with us so we can go through it from notes?
Yes, yes, I will. Yeah, I will. And that just brought me to another point that I just remind me of as well. Anything in particular that stuck out to you?
I love the fact of always asking permission, but I've learned that the more success I have is when I have them look up to themselves, and I'm simply a messenger and not the person that's coming to lecture to them, but I'm the inspiration they've been looking for, and make sure that you get their permission to be able to allow you to speak freely with them about your stories. I love the way you formulated that.
One of the things I forgot to add, so during your just keep adding to this. So when you're up there, what keeps me on my line, like what keeps me on my presentation? A lot of people try to remember their presentation. It's the worst thing you can do. Okay. Everything, the day of the event, okay, I am not studying what I'm saying. I'm getting into the frequency and the feeling of presenting. Prior to that day, yeah, I'm memorizing my lines, I'm going through the day of, all I'm memorizing is the questions I'm asking my audience. Okay, questions keep me on my path. Okay. So questions help you re-engage the audience. So if someone loses you at the first of the presentation, when you ask a question, it re-engages the audience. Okay. So that's the easiest way to remember your presentation. Okay. For whatever section you're in, what's the question that you need to ask that's going to restart your memory and go, oh, this is where I'm at. So sometimes I've had blank moments on stage. You guys ever had that? You're just like, oh shit, where in the hell was I going? Okay. Have questions. Questions help you re-engage the audience. Okay. So if you ever don't know what you're doing, just ask the audience questions. So ask use questions to re-engage the audience and keep you on track. Okay. And then I'm going to copy this link and then I'll drop it in the chat and then you guys could request access for it.
Beautiful.
Okay, thanks guys for dropping on. I'm excited for Brand X next week. Let's pack the room so we can get more people hearing your presentation. I'm here for your success. So let me know if there's anything else I can do. Right now, just making sure everyone got their links and everything so we can keep packing the event. I think the biggest thing with selling tickets is not trying to sell the tickets yourself, having people in your network sell the tickets for you. Say, hey, who do you know in your network that can benefit from these? So that's usually the easiest thing you guys can do. So thanks for jumping on, guys.